comes from sort of a really vulnerable place for me.
Oh.
Thanks, Elaine. But seriously, my parents divorced when I was really young, and as the eldest sibling, I took on, I guess a lot of. I felt like I needed to take on more responsibility to support my parents and my sibling at the time. I felt like I wanted to be a bit more assertive and just help them through that challenging time. But I think then, as I kind of got to my teenage years and my young adult years, I started doing things like, and I know you're going to laugh at me because this is typical Monique, but I was the head girl of my school.
Obviously, yeah.
I wasn't.
I really enjoyed organising activities at church and choreographing like school dance recitals and that kind of stuff. So I think for me, there was always this pull towards just supporting people, and I really liked the buzz out of that responsibility. So at the heart of it, I guess it started from a really young age, but it just evolved into something really focused on getting my joy out of being around people and supporting them in the long run.
Oh God. Okay, so I'm going to pick two, and I'm going to do it quite quickly. It's nobody in this room.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's just get that out there. The first one, anyone that's a Wokahontas who's going to watch this video is going to be upset now, because I'm going to say it was Margaret Thatcher, and that just gets a load of boos off everyone, doesn't it? But, yeah, exactly. So I was a teenager in the 1980s when she came into power, and it wasn't even, I never met her or any of that sort of stuff, but just the coverage of a woman and the photo of her surrounded by these white, gammon, middle-aged, horrible blokes in the Tory party. And while she did, I think, loads of things for the betterment of Britain, she did loads of things that weren't necessarily good. I actually saw that as a bit of a role model's the wrong word, but sort of, God, that's really different and quite exciting.
Iconic,
and it really influenced me as a young man, and it kind of did that go-getter, Britain, work, money, all that kind of stuff. So that's why I'm a bit materialistic and all that sort of jazz still today. So that's one. One that's much closer to home is when I was 25, I was working for a company that was bought out by another business. And the manager, the MD of this business, was a woman called Cynthia Bostock. If she's watching, hi Cynthia. And I was 25 at the time, and she was 30. And she was running this whole division of a FTSE 250 company. And I thought, Christ alive, actually, I'm not working hard enough. I'm not at the right place I want to be, because actually this young woman, and that's exactly what she was completely in control of her shit. And it was like, that's the kind of person I want to be. And so I think she had a massive influence on me, moving from a kind of day-to-day, work-a-day kind of person to I can do better, be better, do more kind of person. So I've never told her that, funnily enough, because I only worked with her for about 5 years. But if I bumped into her in the pub today, I'd definitely say that to her. She had a really big influence on me.
Gonna tag her on Facebook and Instagram, yeah.
LinkedIn.
Like
You'll find her on LinkedIn.
Shout out for Sean Kelly.
Yeah, and then she'll put something in the notes that says he was always an idiot.
Yeah, never liked it.
It's a good question.
I definitely never consciously decided I wanted to work in HR. As a kid, I wanted to be a teacher, and I was that kid that used to make pretend registers and have friends, pretend friends, and my brother. And I used to be like, Richard, you need to be this person and that person. And no, they're off sick today. Then I went through a bit where I was like, air hostesses look really cool, and I really like the idea of that. Then I was like, no, that's not for me. And then as I got a bit older, being a psychologist was something that interested me. So it was always something around people. I didn't go down the psychology route. My parents said I wasn't clever enough. To
be fair,
true. But what I then realised is it was definitely always something that was people focused. And in my old school, we had to put down things that interested us, and I put working with people. And they put me into an HR department of a big insurance firm. And I ended up for the week in, 14, 15, basically checking off all the pay reviews that they'd entered on the system and to check it was all correct. And at that age, I loved that for some weird reason.
Do you still love that now?
And so kind of from that, that's how I got into HR and thought that's the kind of career I want to do. In terms of leadership, it's really weird. I don't think you kind of view your career as I want to be a leader. I think you just want to do a good job. And it's actually only coming into this industry that I've realised as a minority group, you can really try and make a difference and drive some change. So yeah, I guess that's kind of, it probably wasn't a conscious decision, but I've always been surrounded by really strong women. And actually subconsciously I thought I want to be as good as them and I look up to them. So it's just always been in my bones to kind of be as good as the women that I look up to in my life, friends, family, and previous bosses.
It's pretty cool.
Oh, see, I think this goes back to society, really. I think this goes back to being a youngster and the toys that are orientated and marketed towards you. You know, I had boxes and boxes filled with toy cars and, you know, which one was the shiniest. And I've still got some now in my office. And I think it's an element of that. I do think it's an element of that boys just naturally orientated towards cars and fixing things and dirt, and it's just something that's grown up. And I think that's the element of why motor trade attracts more boys, I think, because it's the car and speed and that element behind it. I think it's changing now.
I was going to say, do you think because of the way the world's going,
I think
perception is changing?
Correct.
We don't feel it from a recruitment
No,
perspective.
yeah.
But is that because it's just too early on in that journey?
I think it is too early on in that journey, but it definitely is changing. And I think the motor industry itself, back in the 70s, you're welcome. Yeah. Just had that orientation was where just males gravitated towards it. I think that's what it is. But I think it's changing. It's definitely changing, which is good. Which is very, very good.
I think yeah. Just kind of picking up on that. I think the car business had a bad press because it was perceived as being dirty and horrible, and you know, blokes and, you know, those bloody Pirelli calendars on the wall, all that sort of stuff was kind of saying to women, stay out, wasn't it? And I think what's happened recently, there's still a long way to go, but what's happened recently is car dealers have moved away from being a garage to actually a kind of people, information technology and customer focused business.
More retail, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's definitely more retail
now, like high street retail.
But the showrooms and even the workshops and everything now, they're clean, they're tidy, they're cutting edge. All of the kind of grime and grit that Adam was talking about is now long gone. But I think there's still this perception in the marketplace about what working at a car dealer's like, and it's definitely different. But we're not doing obviously a good enough job of promoting that, I guess.
Gosh, do you know what? When I saw that question, I got a bit of like a pit in my stomach. That as a statement, being in a minority group or being women and being a barrier to career progression, I think if you hold that in your mind and give it energy, it can be really powerful and perhaps even crippling in terms of your like approach to day-to-day life. So I personally don't choose to give that energy. Now, I'm not going to be naive, right, and say that possibly hasn't happened in the past or doesn't happen today in certain companies and industries. But, you know, I choose to put my energies into things that I can control, right? So I can control my personal development and growth. I can make sure that I'm surrounding myself by good people.
Normally.
Okay, to help me on my career path, right? And I'm going to constantly try and improve myself, whether that's through learning or just reading up things on the internet to try and keep ahead of the game, that's where I choose to put my energies rather than focusing on barriers that I may or may not be able to kind of have control over.
Well, there's two or three things for me. The first one is we've got to talk it up. I don't think there's enough positive press about car dealers and the opportunity for women and why it's so important. I mean, if you think about our customer base, it's 50-50, isn't it? So why shouldn't that be represented in the people that we employ? The only reason it isn't is because we don't get enough applications in the first place. So we've got to do a job of work that promotes our business in a way that encourages women to want to work here and feel comfortable in applying is the first thing. I think the second element within that is there are sometimes still in our business natural biases towards individuals, and often they say things like people recruit in your own image. And then the final thing, I suppose, is we need to, as individuals, I suppose, change our approach, if you like. And what I mean by that is we often fall into the trap of it's a long hours business. Yeah, so it can't possibly be good for a woman, especially if she's got kids. That kind of sort of stuff, really. And so as a business, I'm really trying to work with Elaine to change that approach in the business. Now, it's quite hard because we're a retail business, we're open long hours, many days of the week, all that sort of stuff. So, but there's ways of covering those hours with arguably more employees, working less hours, more job share, more opportunity for that. That feels a little uncomfortable still, because for the last 20, 30 years, it's always been you work a 44-hour week and you do work a Saturday, and that's just how life is. And we've got to change that if we're going to find the very best people to come into the business.
That is definitely something what's so funny?
Just a really good question.
Yeah. That is definitely something I have struggled with in the past in previous roles. Actually, I think big up to Vines. I think as a business, we really do encourage that work-life balance. And I think, when we're here, we work hard, but we do really actively push our staff to, when you're out, you're out. And I think things just like us showing that, we're shut on Sundays, after sales is shut on Saturday. I think that, because that's just how we want to operate as a business, I think that just then in turn comes through to everybody. So it's something I have struggled with. I've worked really hard on it, and I feel at the moment I've got that balance just right.
Well done.
like Goldilocks.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool. That is
a
the
great question.
That is the question.
That is a great question.
Do say.
Oh dear. What do you say to that individual? Have a dream. And I don't like the saying is you can achieve anything you want to. I'm not a massive fan of that. But if it's important enough to you, you'll make it happen. And we're talking earlier about barriers and stuff like that. If you put those barriers in your way, you won't achieve what you want to do. So I think if you have the dream and you want to achieve it, and that's your desire, you will do it. And you've got to have some resilience within that. It's not always going to go to plan. Many times, even through my Vines career, I've gone for a promotion and not got it. But it's that ability to go, right, it didn't happen for a reason. What do I need to do? Dust myself down, pick myself up. What have I got to do better next time round to make it happen? So I think you've got to aim and really dream high. And I said, if it's important enough to you, you will make it happen. You will make it happen. But you've got to have that goal and a bit of a plan in the background to make it happen. That's
that resilience piece, I think, is the critical one for me. But I know we're here. International Women's Day, all that sort of stuff, whether you're man, woman, whatever it is, it's fine, it's exactly the same. But the critical piece for me is there appears to be a feeling that it's not hard work, and it actually is all about hard work.
Yeah.
And I think people have to take responsibility for themselves, and you work as hard on you as you do on your job. Nothing comes for free, and nothing happens by accident either. So it just kind of alluding on that point, that would be my advice to anyone interested in joining the motor industry, particularly if you're a female, because there's definitely loads of opportunity, and a great fun job as well.
Yeah.
I mean, we have such a laugh in the business every single day.
See the
But-
outtakes.
Yeah. See the guy coming in the door. But equally, we all work hard.
Yeah.
And it is that, have fun while you're working piece. And if you get your nose down, put a smile on your face, and you like dealing with people, the motor trade is a great place for all.
Do you know what? I think joining a male-dominated industry is an interesting one. I think whether you're male, female, identify differently, we have within us feminine energy and we have masculine energy. And I think, I know I certainly do. Maybe too much masculine energy at times. But I think there's a real propensity perhaps for women to try and mute down your feminine energy when you come into a male-dominated industry. And actually that's what makes us unique, and we should lean into that. So I guess how that manifests in day-to-day life, maybe, Elaine and I might be a little bit more caring, empathetic, compassionate, whereas these lot maybe less so, or sometimes actually your feminine energy comes out too. And actually I think in today's leadership and the way we want to kind of make this the best place to work, that's the kind of environment we want to walk into every day, especially as we're a family business, right? We were dealing with our family. We want to have a kind, caring, compassionate environment to walk into. So actually all of us should lean into that feminine energy and not mask that. So yeah, I think that would be my advice for females coming to a male-dominated industry. Lean into that feminine energy. That way, actually, as a collective, we've got different ways of approaching and thinking when we come into situations, and that will make us stronger as an organisation and make this the best place to work.
Just be authentic, isn't it?
Yeah, I know
Just be
Sean
you.
loves that. Sean loves that word, authentic. But yeah, it is. Without being cheesy, just be yourself.
I prefer the word genuine. But I'm just saying.
Do you know what? Forget women or men. Actually, just give it a go. It is a great industry to come and work into, with loads of opportunities. I think if you're an individual that's driven, wants to be successful, and work with a brand that is fantastic, why wouldn't you try this industry? I thought I'd be here for 18 months, get bored. I'm here 8 years this year and still feeling challenged and making change and all of that good stuff. So yeah, just give it a go. It's brilliant.
I think you and I came from different industries when we joined, and we're some of the longest standing employees in the company. So they've locked us in because it is that much fun, in truth. Yeah.